Beep. Hello folks, welcome to another how-to video brought to you by cfru 93.3 FM. Hope you're all doing all right at home during our second Ontario lockdown. This video is going to just show you how to configure your USB microphone if that's your setup for recording from home. So we're going to take a Audio-Technica USB mic. Some of you might be using the USB mics with stands that we distributed, and we still have a few more of those if anyone's interested. But I'm going to just be showing you with this Audio-Technica mic that I have here at home. But the principles are all the same. So this is a mic that rather than an XLR analog mic cable, it has a USB connection right there. And so the first thing you want to do is just hook a USB cable, like the one came with your mic, into this little port right on the microphone. So line up your shape of your input there, drop it right in, and we're connected. Next step is plugging your USB mic right into the USB port of your computer. Tilt this over so you can see. I'm going to plug it right in here, and there we go. One quick thing I wanted to add is typically you're going to get a better result from any of these mics with a stand, just so you're not moving it around in your hand. You're going to get some surface noise if you do that. So if you can find a stand or even make a stand, something that will hold this stable facing your mouth, maybe about hand's width away from your mouth, you're going to get a much better result than just sort of holding onto a mic while you're talking. And when it's set up there properly, you want to make sure, of course, that you're facing the front of your mic. Most mics will indicate which is the back and which is the front. Often the label, the make of the mic is going to be on the front, the direction you want to be facing. But this stand is pretty handy and cheap, and just sits your mic right there. Let's move over to the computer now and just look at setting this up on some free software. Okay, and here we are on our desktop here. I'm going to be installing this program on a Mac, but if you have any trouble with installing this on a PC, just send me a message at tech@cfru.ca, and I'm happy to help you out. But the process will be very similar. This program works for Mac, Windows, and various Linux distributions as well. And I'm going to type in Ocean Audio, OCENAUDIO.com into the search engine, click enter, and it'll take you to the Ocean Audio page. Now this is free software. I find it really intuitive and easy to use, especially if you're not entirely comfortable with digital audio recording. This is a great place to begin, and I find it a lot easier to start with than stuff like Audacity and Ardor, but those are other programs you might want to check out that are free, and then you've got your paid programs like Reaper and Adobe Audition and Pro Tools and that kind of thing as well. But this will get you, this will do the job just fine for recording a show from home. So I'm going to click on the download here. Again, I'm using the Mac version, but if you sign in, it should detect that you're on a PC or Linux, but you may just have to find the operating system that you're using to make sure you're downloading the right version. I've clicked that. I'm going to just let it open automatically with Disk Image Mounter, but I could save it to my downloads folder and double click and go through the process, same process, but this will be a bit faster. So we'll hit OK. And I'm going to agree now that it's opening. There we go. I just have to drag this over to my applications folder, and it's installed. I can close this installer, close my browser. And now if I go over to my applications folder, I can find it listed here, you'll, of course, if you're using a Windows computer, you'll need to find that in your programs folder. Now, sometimes if you try to open this up and you get a little warning that security preferences won't let you open the software, you can go over to your system preferences and your security and privacy settings here. And you'll have a little warning that says allow Ocean Audio to open or approve Ocean Audio or something like that. You just select that or click allow. You might have to enter your password in there. And then opening up should work. You may get another little window that pops up. There we go, like this. It's an app downloaded from the internet. Are you sure you want to open it? Yes. I've had no trouble with security issues from Ocean Audio. So here's what Ocean Audio looks like when you open a new session. I'm going to just close this little window because we don't need my VST plugins for what we're doing. So we're looking at a blank Ocean Audio slate here. The first thing you want to do is just make sure that we've got our mic, our USB mic selected as our main input device. So I'm going to go up to Ocean Audio and Preferences and the Sound tab here. And we're going to look at the record device. So if you click on this little drop-down menu, you want to find your USB mic. You should have an option that says USB in there. It might say USB audio codec, or it might have a different name, but it'll generally say USB. And we'll select that. And the output we can set as either system default or built-in output, or your headphone jack. Any of those options are great. Headphones are pretty ideal so that you can really monitor what you're doing. So I'm going to put built-in output, and then we'll go and close this and start a new file. So I'm going to go to the File menu, click on New, and here are some settings for you. So 44.1 is a good option for the sample rate. You can leave that as it is. We're going to record a stereo file for our radio show. And 16-bit resolution is just fine for our purposes as well. So I'm going to hit OK. And now I'm going to hit record. And I'm recording from my USB microphone right now into our system. And you can see it scrolling along. These are the wave files, the visual representation of the sound waves. And we can pretend this is the introduction to our radio show. Just hit stop there. Now you can see we're zoomed in kind of at the end of our recording here. But to zoom out, you just want to go over to these magnifying glasses here. And I'm going to just hold down on this minus magnifying glass. We can go all the way out, or you can go a little ways. And you've always got this little scrolling view selector up at the top if you want to move along if you're zoomed in. But I'm going to zoom all the way out. And we're looking pretty good. Now, something you might run into if you're recording the first time is this. Let me just hit record here. Check, check, check. And you can see that I'm only getting sound on this top bar here, my left channel versus my right channel over here. So what that means is if you were to send that in as your radio show, your listeners are only going to hear your voice coming through the left speaker, which could sound a little strange. So the way to fix that, I'm going to just stop this here. Okay. Zoom out, and I'm going to go up to my controls menu, record mixer configuration, and you select the source you're using. So again, your USB mic here. And what you want to do is make sure that this says 1 as well. So input 1, channel 1, 1. Input 2, channel 2 is 1 as well. And that looks good now. So we're going to close that. And if I start recording now, I'm recording. And you can see that it's showing up in both channels, looking good. This is what you want to see. This means that your voice is going to come through sounding like it's right in the center, coming at your listener. Another feature that's kind of neat with Ocean Audio, you'll notice here, is the new update. If you're recording, it inserts that recording into what you've already recorded rather than writing over top of what you've done, which is handy if you want to drop in something you forgot to say and that kind of thing. You just click your cursor wherever you want to put it in. Let's zoom over here. Actually, what I'm going to do is just delete all of this one channel stuff because we don't want it. So I've just dragged with my left clicker held down. I just dragged my cursor over there. Delete. Chops it right out. Oop, looks like I have a bit more to do here. And delete that. Now we've just got the stereo recording that we've made. But let's say I wanted to drop something in right here. I can just click and put my cursor right there. Hit record. And I forgot to mention this. And now I'm inserting it into my recording. And spacebar to stop or stop button. And there you go. And you've dropped it right into your recording. So super handy and quick for producing a radio show. The next thing I'll show you is how to drop in a piece of music. So what I'm going to do is zoom out again. Zoom, zoom, zoom. And let's say this is the end of my intro and I want to drop my piece of music in there. I can just click there and zoom, zoom, zoom in. Make sure I'm right at the end. And of course you can listen back and delete anything you don't want in here. I'm going to put my cursor right at the end. And now we're going to go grab a piece of music. So this is ideally when you're working with MP3s and that kind of thing rather than maybe ripping CDs to your computer. So if you have your music on your computer already, you can go to something like iTunes. And let's grab something from Amadou and Miriam. So let's say it's this song that I want. I can drag it right to my desktop. And now the MP3 is ready to be imported into Ocean Audio, which we'll bring up again. And all I need to do to bring that song in is grab the file from the desktop and drag and drop it right into our opened files list here. So if I double click on any of these, I'll see what that file looks like, what those sound waves look like over here. And you'll notice that with music, commercially released music, it's going to be a lot louder than what we've recorded with their voices, and we'll deal with that in a moment. So to move this into our show recording, which is this untitled number 2 file, I'm just going to double click the Amadou and Miriam song to select the whole file. So double click and it selects the whole thing. And then I'm going to right click and hit copy. You could also use your key commands, Command C or Control C on a PC, or go up to your edit menu and the same stuff is up here. But right click should bring up that menu as well. So I've copied that, and then I double click on here to see my show file, and I'm going to just paste it right where I left my cursor. So right here. Let's even delete a little bit of this at the end here, probably a mouth sound. I'm just going to delete, and then my cursor is right at the end. I'm going to paste. Boom, dropped it right in there. So you can see that this is quite a bit louder than the voice. So the next thing you're going to want to do is just do a little volume adjustment for the stuff you've dropped in here. So this is a handy little tool up at the top, your gain tool. And if you click on that, you get a little gain adjustment. And I might just drop that down a little bit for the music. That's a pretty good level for music. We'll hit apply, and that's done. And then we're going to look, I've just scrolled back to look at the spoken section that we recorded, and I'm going to zoom in a bit on that. And the last thing you might want to do, just to make sure that your voice isn't sounding a lot quieter than your music, we want to make sure that we're pushing this volume up for this section here. Now we do have a piece here that's quite a bit louder. It may have been like a popped P or something like that. So I'm going to zoom in on that, and we're going to adjust that first. You don't always have to do this. If your voice is quiet all across the board, you can just boost the gain for the whole spoken section. But I'm just going to do one quick adjustment here and select the waveform that's gone a bit loud and just bring that down first and apply. Then I'll zoom out and just select the spoken section here. So we can select the whole thing. And with the gain selected, I can push this up. Another option is, if I left that there, I can hit this button here, this little feature, which is your normalize effect, and that'll boost things up as well to the maximum level for your peaks. So that'll just make sure that your voice sounds comparably loud to the music you're playing. One of the main problems that happens when folks start recording from home is that a show comes in and the voice is fairly quiet, and then the music comes on and it's just blaringly loud. So just make sure that you're listening back and checking your levels. Make sure they're kind of comparable, and just do some adjustment as needed. So that's that. Another little thing you might find happens if you click too high up on one of your waveforms or too low down, it selects just one side. So that's why this is showing up in green. Any changes that you're making, like the volume adjustments we just did, you want to make sure that both sides are selected. Both sides are showing up in green. Otherwise, you'd just be changing the level of your left channel if that was the only one that was highlighted here. So just that's something else to watch as you're making some edits and that kind of thing. So let's just do one more thing, which is I'm going to zoom out and go to the end of that piece of music. Maybe zoom in a little. And we're going to start recording the next section of talk. So if I wanted to finish the songs or the couple of songs that we've dropped in for our show, if I want to record the next spoken segment, I just click right after the song, hit record, and I'm recording. I'm speaking into the microphone, and you're listening to CFRU 93.3 FM. And you might have to do some cleanup. Little bits like silence and that kind of thing. You can, again, hold your left clicker down, drag over, and just hit delete, chop it out. And you can cut and paste and move things around as needed. Just make sure you're listening back and everything sounds as you want it to. Once you've finished your show, the last thing you're going to need to do is just save it as an MP3. So make sure that it's the length that you want it, that everything sounds as you like. And then let's just zoom all the way out. You can check your time down here. And we're going to save it now. So once the whole show is together, 58 minutes or so for an hour-long show, we're going to go up to File, Save As. Give it a nice title like my show, Jan 6th, 2021. We're going to save it. Let's just save it to the desktop to make it easy to find. But you can choose wherever you want to store your stuff. Maybe you've got your own folder going. And the last thing is to make sure that it's saving as an MP3. So right now, by default, it's recording as a WAV file. But I'm going to scroll up here and select MP3. And that's sound quality is going to be just fine for our purposes. And it's just going to be a lot easier to move that file around, send it to Christopher to put on the air, and so forth. So save it as MP3. We'll hit that there, and it'll take a moment. And we can now see my show, January 6th, 2021, and that could be sent to Christopher to air through our usual upload system, where there's another video for that online on our YouTube channel. Or you can use a online software like WeTransfer that allows you to send to email large files. All those options are fine. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned to CFRU 93.3 FM.